Hello, and thank you for joining me on ILTV. I'm Aaron Porras, and for the last few years, it's been my pleasure to provide you with the insider's look at Israel and the Middle East in English. Your support for us means the world. But there's so much more of Israel to see and do. That's why I'm honored to introduce our all-new streaming platform, ILTV+, where you'll find all of the classic and original ILTV content that you know and love, plus so much more. I'm talking more direct engagement with me and the ILTV team, live streams from holy sites, interviews and lectures with the nation's top minds and personalities, and virtual walking tours across the country, just to name a few. What you won't find are ads, sponsored content, and special interests. It's just Israel 24/7 in the palm of your hand. So sign up for your free trial today at ILTV.tv or through the Apple app and Google Play stores. See you there. Hello and welcome to ILTV's Israel Daily. I'm Aaron Porras, and before we begin, I want to again remind you not to forget about our own streaming platform, ILTV+, available on every app store and at ILTV.tv. Now, coming up in today's newscast, tourism to Israel getting a whole lot easier. Meantime, Israel working against the clock to rescue Jews still stuck in Ethiopia. And finally, Iran caught planning terror attacks abroad while calling on the West to give in to preconditions for talks in Vienna. We begin with the latest coronavirus updates. Israel sharing equipment and insights with nations like Romania to help curb the virus's spread abroad. And internally, the cabinet on Sunday loosening restrictions for foreign visitors, enabling groups of up to 40 tourists to enter the country as long as they've been vaccinated twice. And that's even if 6 months have passed from the date of their second vaccine, and even if there are no intentions to ever receive a booster. This as Israel's COVID infection rate continuing to drop, fewer than 500 new infections logged overnight. This for a spread rate of 0.63%. Additionally, preventative care improving. Booster shots shown to provide immunity for upwards of 10 months, and Israeli health officials in touch with Pfizer-BioNTech on acquiring their new COVID pill.
כבר בסוף השבוע ביקשתי מהמערכת אצלנו ללמוד לעומק את נושא התרופה החדשה ולבדוק רכש עבור מדינת ישראל. אם התרופה תאושר לשימוש, זה יהיה עוד כלי משמעותי בניהול המגפה, יחד עם חיסונים לכולם ובדיקות נגישות לכולם כל הזמן.
So could this be the true light at the end of the pandemic tunnel? With us to answer is Director of the School of Public Health at Ben-Gurion University, Professor Nadav Davidovich. Professor, it's a pleasure to have you back with us. Now, starting with tourism, though, new reports are claiming that people with booster shots are better protected against COVID and for longer, about 10 months. So is Israel better equipped to receive new tourists and potentially new strains of the disease, or are we tempting fate?
First of all, I think that now we can say for sure, and this is already published in peer-reviewed journals like New England Journal of Medicine and Lancet, that the decision to have the booster was a very important one. This is not only for the elderly, it's for all age groups, and we see the benefit and also the quite low side effects. I think that we are now in the situation that we need to live with COVID. Living with COVID, it's not being passive. We have lots of things to do. And like we opened the schools, although we knew that there are going to be some surge in infection because we understand the benefits, same thing, we cannot close the borders forever. So I think that we need to see how we are handling according to the international health regulations. And the main idea is to have testing. I don't think we can block the country for people that are not vaccinated with the booster, because in many places they don't have access to it. And I think this creates lots of inequalities. So probably it's a good idea, but the question is enforcement. We need to have tests. We need to have genetic typing, because we know that the spread of different variants is just a matter of time. So the question is how to be proportionate. And this is something that we need to do carefully, gradually, with all the surveillance and also collaboration among different countries.
So what would you say, though, is the most important advancement or defense that we now have available to us? Is it vaccines, or is it maybe new treatments like the Pfizer pills?
For sure, vaccines are always better than any treatment. This is true not just for COVID, but for any infectious disease. Prevention is always the best measure. It's also reducing inequalities because not all people have access to the different drugs. Of course, unfortunately, we still have inequalities within Israel and, of course, between countries. And we see in Israel that people with high socioeconomic status are better vaccinated. Of course, the vaccine is available, but sometimes availability is not just having the vaccine for free. It's also about fighting fake news, giving explanations, and cultural access and all of that. So vaccines are the most important tool, but we need a multi-layered approach because vaccines cannot solve all other problems, the socioeconomic problems, the emotional ones. And some people maybe are not going to be vaccinated, or maybe there are going to be breakthroughs. So having also treatment is an important component, but we need to take it into perspective. So this is not going to make a dramatic change. It's another measure. We still need to wait for the FDA approval and the approval also in Israel. And we need to remember also that, for example, the Pfizer antiviral drug, this is good only if you're taking it up to 3 days when symptoms started. So this is something that probably not all people are going to enjoy. Some are going to miss it. It's also for people with at least one risk, like diabetes or obesity. So it's another component, and vaccines are always better. And of course, prevention like hygiene and masks and all of these.
All right, Professor Davidovich, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you.